Now, let's move on to Congo, where M23 rebels say they have captured the eastern city of Goma after days of heavy fighting with government forces. Now, it is alleged that the M23 rebels are said to have been backed by the neighboring country, Rwanda, and of course, with the United Nations citing a major influx of refugees of over 1.3 million people fleeing to the next countries like Rwanda and Uganda. Well, it should be noted that Goma is the biggest city in Congo, and there has been reports of heavy fighting at the border between Congolese forces and Rwandese forces. And well, just like we told you, our reporter from Congo, Shaira Nike, reports the latest.
Fighting between Congolese forces and the M23 armed rebel group has intensified in the east, with the rebels pressing on with their relentless offensive that is bringing the city of Goma to the brink. Congolese officials are accusing neighboring Rwanda of backing the M23 armed group.
Apart from attacks on strategic infrastructure, bombs have also fallen on the displaced persons camp in Bushagara. There is a clear intent to spread panic and terror. This is precisely the method used by the Rwandan army against the people of North Kivu.
Rwanda denies it's involved in the conflict, despite evidence collected by UN experts and others.
Why are they fighting? Why do they have arms? Is another question. It is also a simple question. They exist because they have been denied their rights as citizens of that country. They are called Tutsis of Rwanda.
Alongside the Congolese army, regional peacekeepers and UN forces have been heavily engaged in the fighting, which has already resulted in heavy casualties. The violence has displaced hundreds of thousands, forcing many to flee, while others remain in the city, braving the dangerous conditions. We haven't slept for 3 days. We hear bombs exploding day and night. We see people trying to flee but will not flee because we have nowhere to go.
Sitting here, I can hear the sounds of bombs, the crackle of falling bullets. We decided to stay at home because as long as there are wars, those who flee the war can also die or live a bad life. That's why we thought it's better to stay home. If we're going to die, it's better to die here.
And I'm saying even those who accuse us, actually I should accuse them of not supporting M23 because it is as if they agree with the injustice that is being done to this community.
Now, as we told you, if you're just joining this Pi TV newscast, we just told you that we're going to bring in a news reporter from Congo to tell us the latest. And now, just joining us live from Congo is a reporter Ondira Uganda, corresponding from Congo, live to tell us what exactly is happening in Congo. Now, Mrs. Ondira, briefly explain to us, how did this all start?
Let's take a look at the last 24 hours, for example. On the 26th of January, the M23 rebels were just 9 kilometers north of Goma. On the 27th in the morning, we woke up to news that M23 rebels have seized the town of Goma. And they posted on their X saying, "We urge all residents of Goma to remain calm. The liberation of the city has been successfully carried out." Goma is a town near the border of Rwanda, and it's a key trading hub. And this cessation or seizure by M23 rebels could mean that there could be full war prospects that we could be looking at. You also have M23 rebels that have seized control of the airspace in DRC, and they've blocked all movement of people and humanitarian aid in and out of this city. And you have the UN saying that water, electricity infrastructure has been damaged. Humanitarian aid workers are running out of money. Then you have people. Goma was one of the last safe havens in the eastern part of DRC. People are fleeing, not knowing where to go. Their children and whatever belongings they could pack on their bags. The UN says at least 178,000 people have been displaced since January. And from the recent fighting that we've seen, 3 peacekeepers from South Africa and Uruguay have been killed and 11 have been wounded.
Well, online, I'm also privileged to have been joined by journalist El Kataki Jema from Goma. And Jema, if you could begin by just what you're seeing or what you're hearing from Goma. Are there gunshots in the background?
From the place I am now, I'm seeing nothing except the nature and people around me, because I'm in a hotel for my security. And what we can hear is gunshots and all caliber, because M23 had taken the control of the city. But in some places, Wazalendo fighters are still resisting to M23. And the information I have now, it seems that there is there was an incursion of Wazalendo.
And well, yes, thank you so much, Mr. Jafar, the journalist, for reporting to us live from the eastern city of Goma. Now, let's turn back to Mrs. Oganga. Okay, yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Ondera. Now, you remember when last week Spy TV Uganda newsroom called you in regards to this story? And of course, you said that Turkey was going to mediate in between the two, that is to say Rwanda and Congo. And of course, not forgetting that the president of Kenya had called an emergency meeting 2 days from now. Now, where does this leave the whole debate? And where does this leave Rwanda in regards to the United Nations pointing fingers that the M23 are backed by them?
Tension is fast rising between the two countries. You have the government of DRC that accused Rwandan troops of crossing the border, terming it as a declaration of war. You also have Congo, the US, and the UN accusing Rwanda of backing M23 rebels, not only with weapons but also boots on the ground. The UN also says that Rwanda has been using GPS jamming and spoofing equipment that is blocking relief efforts. And because M23 have now seized Goma, they control the world's largest deposit of tantalum ore that is used in portable electronics, and these minerals are being shipped to Rwanda and then loaded into the global ecosystem, according to DRC, and they're asking an embargo to be placed from gold and coltan that is coming from Rwanda. On the other hand, Rwanda is responding. The ambassador to Rwanda, or rather the ambassador to UN from Rwanda, says Congo's inability to govern itself and control active armed groups is the root cause of problems in that country. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also in Rwanda has released a statement criticizing the lack of context in the statements that are being put out there. They're saying they're misguided and manipulative. Rwanda is being scapegoated, but all in all, Rwanda remains to a peaceful process and finding peace in DRC.
And well, yes, of course. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ondira Oganga, reporting to us live from Goma, the eastern capital of Congo. Now, reports have been going all around on social media and mainstream media that the M23-backed Rwanda rebels, in quotes, have captured the city of Goma. Is it true? Is there any sign that they have captured Goma?
To be honest, the M23 has taken the control of the city, except in some isolated zones where Wazalendo are still fighting. But the National Army surrendered in the night. Also, the Agemira mercenaries surrendered in the night. For now, only Wazalendo are fighting, and it's not an open fight, but it's just an isolated case. When Muzalendo see a troop of M23, he can shoot them, and then M23 respond. I don't know if you are hearing in my background gunshots. For the moment, the majority, almost of people here are in their houses, except some few number of people. Early in the morning, they were accompanying M23 when troops were getting in the city, and other people was looting in supermarkets and shops. But when fighting between M23 and Wazalendo started, everybody returned back to their places. It's difficult to know that because that can be a noun goal or a noun answer of M23. But since the beginning of the war, not just the fall of the city of Goma, since they started, they say they are fighting for their rights, they are fighting for the liberty of North Kivu, of Eastern Kivu, Eastern Congo citizen, or for the Congolese Kinyarwanda speakers. But for now, as they take the control of the city of Goma, I think their goal stays the same.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Jafar, now a journalist from Goma.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
Now, I'm afraid for now we're going to leave it at that. It's been Spy TV's Wycliffe Kakumba. And now, yes, of course, let's keep our fingers crossed for what's next for the neighboring country in Congo. Now, this is Spy TV World News Broadcast. I'm Wycliffe Kakumba. Good evening.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.